Carney told a very bored and unelectric crowd. Like, I've been to Polyev events, and it is young, it's energetic, it's diverse if you care about those things. It, like, the energy in the room is, and I've been to a lot of political events, and it is exciting. And it is like old people, young people, you can tell that people are rich. You can tell that they're blue collar people coming like straight from their job as a welder or whatever. They're like, it's very, and it's packed. This was nap time at the nursing home in Edmonton. Anyways, here's a clip of Mark Carney telling the crowd that the good times are all gone. Now, he neglects to tell the crowd that who pissed away the good times, that would be the Liberals, and who advised them how to do it, that would be him. Yep. So let's show this.
But those good old times, my friends, are over. Our times are anything but ordinary. The system, it's not working as it should. And it's not working as it could. People are anxious. No wonder. Too many are falling behind. Too many young people can't afford a home. Too many people can't find a doctor. And then we're living through the two biggest technological revolutions since they split the atom. And our climate is changing in ways that threatens livelihoods from Fort Mac to Fort Smith. And then on top of that, as George just mentioned, in just 4 days, the United States will swear in Donald Trump as their 47th president, a man who threatens economic force on his closest, most steadfast allies, including Canada. No.
Yeah,
boring, right?
Yeah, I wonder why that would be. Maybe we're not living up to our NATO commitments and have no intention of doing so until 2032. Maybe because the border is open for illegal aliens and fentanyl. Not as great as the southern border, which is an absolute sieve. And already Donald Trump, not even in office, is getting results. And Sheila, you are right. Nap time at the old folks lodge. Did you see that poor kid in the Oilers jersey? I thought he was going to pass out. He was trying to stay upright, and he was slouching over, and his eyes were going to the back of his head. What, who brought their kid to this snore fest?
I have 2 cups of coffee in my office as we speak. And I brought them down here knowing that I would have to re-listen to Mark Carney because that was like having to donate blood. It was like all your energy just left your body. I called him an energy vampire suckling at me through the screen of my laptop. And I had to watch it a couple times because I cut the clips yesterday. Boring. But if you cut through the absolute snore fest of that, all the things he lists are things that he is responsible for. The 2 major economic issues of the Trudeau government that have been mishandled by him: COVID and just economics in general. So if you're worried about inflation, that's his overspending. If you thought the fall economic update was a disaster, that's him. If you thought that the government overspent during COVID and it caused inflation, that's him. If you are worried about the carbon tax making life unaffordable, that's him. These are his issues. He did this. Now he's pointing out, yeah, guys, it's tough out there. Yeah, I know you made it tough, buddy. It was like you. Trudeau is really an empty vessel, right? People just pour their dumb ideas into him and he thinks they're good. And then he repeats them. The dumb ideas coming at Justin Trudeau, well, the headwaters of them that flow down to him are the World Economic Forum and Economic Forum people like Mark Carney whispering in his ear like some Rasputin. I don't know how you say it. But that's who he is. That's who Carney is. So if you think you're getting something different, you're getting more of the same. In fact, I got to give the Liberals credit. If they pick Carney, they're just cutting out the middleman.
Yeah, that's a great point, Sheila. But you know what? The message stinks. But more to the point, the delivery of the message also stinks because where's the sizzle? I mean, as much as Mark Carney was denouncing Donald Trump, he should tune into the Trump rally in D.C. on Sunday, the day before inauguration, and get an idea how it's done. I mean, the atmosphere at a Trump rally is electrifying, and Trump is just, he's not reading off a teleprompter or a script. He's just, speaking off the cuff. He's making jokes, and good jokes at that. Donald Trump doesn't get enough credit for his sense of humor. And it's kind of funny because as much as the Jon Stewart show, I thought, was like, what's he doing there? At least he came across, Sheila, as comfortable in that environment. And he was making jokes. What happened at this Edmonton presser? You could have heard a needle drop. There was nobody clapping, even at the times where they're supposed to clap. I'm mystified at how that happened, especially since Carney has the resources to astroturf that room, have people come in like paid actors, plants.
You'd have to fly him in. This is Edmonton.
Yeah, well, he's got that cash.
Yeah. At one point, he tried a joke. Actually, he tried two, and the crowd audibly groaned. He said something like, "We're going to give a plan, not slogans."
No.
And I'm like, they were like, ugh. I just was like, give me something for the cringe and let me die. Like, it was just so bad. He did take a swipe at Premier Daniel Smith, and I know Olivia wants to move ahead, but I think it's a pretty short clip. He comes to Alberta. This is a liberal wasteland, to crap on our premier who's standing up for our jobs, but 550,000 jobs across this country supported by oil and gas. Listen to this.
Let me tell you one other thing. In these times, sending Pierre Poilievre to negotiate with Donald Trump is the worst possible idea. I can think of one other politician I might not send.
Oh, who?
It just came to me in the last 24 hours.
Oh, he means Daniel Smith. I thought he was talking about Justin Trudeau.
No, he means Danielle Smith, the woman who is friendly with the Trump administration. That's how stupid these liberals are. They're like, let's send somebody that Trump really hates to see if we can get something good out of him. That's how dumb he is. You don't come to Alberta and crap on the premier who's fighting for our jobs. Like, that just completely idiotic. But I know why he launched in Alberta is because he wanted to be Alberta's man. He didn't want Freeland to do it, who is now being forced to launch in Toronto.
And Sheila, that is the question, right? Do you buy into the narrative that this Liberal leadership race is really a coronation for Mr. Carney? Or with the announcement now officially, unofficially, she'll make the official announcement on Sunday in Toronto. Now that Fraulein Freeland says she wants the gig, is this going to be a legitimate race?
I don't even care. It's going to be whatever the outcome is. It's exactly the same. It's more Justin Trudeau. Like, Freeland's son's godfather is Carney, and Justin Trudeau's chief advisor on everything is Mark Carney. So, like, it's a big incestuous triangle. You throw Gerald Butts and his wife in the mix, and both work at Eurasia Group.
Correct.
So, I mean, like, what's the difference? Like, who cares? It's just more of the same for Canada. We want to talk about, I know we really want to bump ahead because we have a hard out at 2, but
yes,
let's talk about what happened to the independent journalists there. So
yes.
From what I understand, late last night, independent journalists accidentally got accredited by the Carney camp. And again, this is exactly the same. Meet the new boss, same as the old boss. Justin Trudeau did it to you. His security detail roughed you up, throws us out of events. Freeland, the other contender, rough you up on the streets. No big deal. Well, guess what happened to the independent journalists at Carney's launch? If you think this is going to be any different going forward, do you think this is a guy who believes in civil liberties? Definitely not. I think Alberta is one of the freest places for journalists to work in this entire country. We have a premier who believes in speaking to independent journalists, and she believes in free speech. And then along comes Carney. Anyways, I'll show you this video from Cian Bexte, our alumnus, who now runs Counter Signal. Carney called the cops on him, and Western Standard had a journalist there, and True North. So let's take a look at this. Oh, by the way, that's the Rolls Royce that rolled up.
Yes.
Now, it was initially reported by, well, I'm not sure if Cian actually said that. He just said a Rolls Royce rolled up. And then everybody assumes that it was Carney's, including me. But as it turns out, it wasn't Carney's. Nobody got out. It was just a big, beautiful troll. And which is, the fact that everybody believes that Carney got out of it is exactly what we think of Carney. So whatever. But look at what they did to the journalists.
You guys You've been advised to leave?
By nobody who's identifying themselves. They're just a random dude came up and said that this fellow as well. We're just if we have to leave, I'm happy to leave. But nobody from whoever's booked this has told us that they're actually an authority figure. Just people that I think don't like us. So.
Okay, well, you are trespassing, so you need to
okay.
leave the property.
Okay. All right.
Do you want to come out this way so you're not walking in front of all of them?
I don't. Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Happy to.
My partner.
Yep.
They're going to come this way with us?
Okay.
What's your position in the campaign? No. Why am I coming to go?
Sorry, they're going to come through here. Yes.
Come up this way with these guys.
Hi, George. Have you stolen anything lately?
Back this way? Okay, sorry, we're actually going to go with this
Oh.
way.
This way, sir. This way.
That's Western Standard
This is the
right there.
weirdest I've ever been treated.
If you want to keep filming,
See,
you're
and that's
welcome
not
to, but
true.
you're going to be off the community property.
We'll have to pick up our car, and is that okay?
Where is it?
It's just in the parking lot. We can drive, but thank you.
No, but
Oh, sure, yeah. So the entire community center has trespassed us, or was it the campaign?
it's the private event.
Yeah, private event.
Okay, but they haven't booked this playground.
No, but it is part of the property, so we're going to get you to be off the property.
Okay,
You're free to film from there, but
sure, yeah. Well, thanks for being so professional about this. It's
no problem.
strange treatment from someone who wants to be the prime minister of this country.
And where's your
Just
Just right up ahead here.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Isn't
there's
that
my car.
wild?
It's the stretch Rolls Royce Silver Shadow. It's too bad Cian wasn't given permission to go onto the playground. What a photo op that would be, Sheila. He's on the swing set, and Cian Bexte for the Counter Signal here in Edmonton in the
On the
playground.
monkey bars.
That's-
On the monkey bars.
on the monkey bars.
Imagine that's how your campaign launch in Edmonton starts off. Alberta is the home of independent journalism in this country. Really, it is. I mean, Rebel News is headquartered in Toronto, and you do great work. But we have a government here that treats us with the respect that we deserve as journalists. And then he comes in to treat us the way Ottawa does. Isn't that just exactly the Liberals, right?
100%.
Just come in here with their Ottawa attitude to colonize us.
But Sheila, here's the $64,000 question. What was the ostensible policy reason for denying them access and calling the cops, especially since Cian and those other journalists were accredited? They weren't crashing some private event. They reached out, they had got their credentials, and they showed up. Do we know at this stage what the official reason, well, we know what the real reason is. Carney hates independent journalists as much as Trudeau and Fraulein Freeland. Carney doesn't want to have to answer hard questions. He's only going to get softballs from the mainstream media, trained SEALs. But they're not going to say that, of course. They're not going to be honest. So what was the reason for credentialed journalists being approved? Suddenly, we got to call the cops on it. Has that been reported yet?
No, and nobody's going to ask him. So, well, that's not to say that nobody will ask him. I'm sure Countersignal has probably sent a media request, but they're not going to hear back. And the mainstream media isn't going to ask that question. They're just happy their competitors weren't in there. And so they don't care. Like if I saw somebody booting the CBC out of an event, I would be like, hey, no, you know what? They can stay. Yep. They're journalists. I don't like them, but they should be able to stay. You know who didn't say a damn word about them being kicked out? The mainstream media.
Yep. Yeah, no, I've been in these situations, and I once reached out to, it was every national brand of mainstream media, and I said, hey guys, how about a little solidarity here? And you know what they said? Silence. Nothing. Yeah. Couldn't even make the case. I would prefer, well, here's why we think you should be kicked out, because I'd be educated. I'd get some understanding why I'm persona non grata, But no, Sheila, it's so obvious. We're being paid by a federal government sugar daddy. We're in a sunset industry. We're losing viewers and listeners and readers. We're losing advertisers. Those who remain are getting ads at 10 cents on the dollar compared to what they charged 15 or 20 years ago. And without the welfare, we are toast. I mean, does a month go by where Bell Media is not making yet another announcement of more layoffs, and that's with the government funding? So the fix is in. The second thing I want to say is, because I'm one of the few people at Rebel News that actually went to journalism school back in the day, and I have a journalism degree, and I've taken all the courses, and I've read all the media books, and it's this. In terms of Ethics 101, Sheila, that's a conflict of interest. How can you be expected to fairly and impartially cover the government while you're taking money from the government? That, if my old journalism professors back in the Ryerson days in the early 80s had seen this happening, they would pass out with a heart attack, Sheila. This is so, out of bounds. But it's the new normal here in Canada, isn't it?
This is why I harden my heart to journalistic layoffs. And normally when I see people getting laid off, I'm like, you know what? Those are families. Even if I don't like those people, they have innocent kids and wives and whatever. But I'm all out of caring. I'm all out of caring for these people.
Oh, hi, it's Ezra Levant here in Toronto with an important message because we need your help. Independent journalism in Canada is under attack. Government censors, big tech deplatformers, and the dying legacy media are all working together to maintain exclusive control on the information you receive. They don't want you to hear other voices like ours, and they really don't want you to be informed and to think for yourself. That's why the work we do here at Rebel News is so important. Our on-the-ground reporting, independent news shows, and special content you won't find anywhere else. It's all designed to give you trustworthy information and alternative viewpoints so you can decide for yourself. We don't get government money, and we are not owned by some big global conglomerate. We're funded by people just like you, so please support independent journalism and help us continue our work by subscribing and becoming a Rebel News Plus member today, right here on the page. Go to rebelnewsplus.com.